Well, we have Grandmaster Nikolas Theodorou, Greek number 1, taking on the world number 1 Magnus Carlsen, and Magnus opens with e4, e5 and plays his knight to c3. This is something that Magnus is just playing to maybe have less theory on the board. He goes g3, and generally black equalizes quite easily with knight c6, bishop c5, castles d6. That's the normal way to play. Theodorou goes bishop to c5, and Magnus, well, he can play bishop g2, plays his bishop out there, and you can see both players playing a bit slowly for a blitz game, because this opening is not something that they are well versed with. c6 played. Very cool. He wants to go d5 straight, take the space in the center. But can Magnus go knight f3 and attack the e5 pawn? I think that makes sense. But he goes knight e2, and this should help Theodorou to actually push the pawn in the center. Pawn to d5, and he goes for it. d5, Magnus takes, c takes, and now d4 played in the center. Pawn takes pawn, knight takes, and black castles, white castles as well. So we have an isolated queen pawn position, which is usually very fine for black. Knight c6, bishop g4, rook e8, all of these moves look natural and just obvious. But Theodorou has to decide which plan to take. I think bishop g4 is a very interesting move that he can go for. And he plays it, bishop g4. Now f3 would be very dubious. You know, the bishop is blocked. I come back, I'll play knight c6. So Magnus has to decide what to do. He can go queen d2, but blocks the bishop. Queen d3 seems like the most natural move. Or you can play knight back to f3. That's also possible to come back. Magnus goes queen d3. And now there's this very interesting line that can be thought of. Bishop takes knight, queen takes, and he plays it. Wow, that's the best move. Knight c6, you hit the queen has to move. Queen f4, and now do you play d4? That's the question. Because if you play d4, Magnus can jump knight d5, and if you take, I'll take on g4 with a better position with double bishops. So the best move here is queen d7, defending the bishop and preparing to push. Not an easy position, because you have to calculate through, like knight d5, bishop d5, queen d5, queen takes g4, and then knight e5 with a check coming in. All these calculations are a bit tricky to foresee. And you can see Magnus ahead on the clock, 2 minutes 15 seconds. Theodorou has already thought for more than 45 seconds. He's down to a minute. He plays bishop h5. The bishop is coming to g6 and attacking here, but also goes away from the attack of the queen. Now queen h4, another nice move, getting the queen to a good square. The bishop is attacked. If you play bishop g6, there is bishop g5. Suddenly this pin can get nasty, and this is what happens when you play Magnus Carlsen. You have a small problem, you try to fix it, you land up in a bigger problem. Good or bad? Now push the pawn to d4. He does it, pawn to d4, and Magnus has two options, knight e4, knight d5. I like the knight d5 move because after takes queen h5, you are attacking the knight in the center. He plays knight d5. The knight has to move. Takes, queen takes h5, and now bishop and queen attack the knight on d5. And the knight has to go back, knight f6. He comes back, and queen h4, just keeping the queen in the zone. Or you could even think of going to b5. He goes to f5. While black has the 2 knights and a pawn here, white has the 2 bishops. Look at these 2 Bs and the queen. It's like the Air Force in action. Queen b6. Nice move, attacking the pawn on b2. And now, the natural instinct for anyone is to think of moves like b3, but that weakens all these squares. The knight suddenly could jump to b4, attack here. The other idea is rook b1, which is also playable. But think about it. A great move is pawn to a4. And then if you take on b2, I simply go rook b1. My c2 pawn is defended. I take here, my rook enters in, my bishop opens up. Now moves like a4 are tremendously difficult to make because, oh my goodness, Magnus plays it and now threatens to play a5 to gain even more space. This is insanely good. This shows the power of 2 bishops. a5 played to stop the pawn, but now this weakens the b5 square. The queen moves in. Rook comes up. Oh my god. These pieces are just very poorly placed. Rook e1. He takes the open file. The rook had to move away. And now, maybe rook comes to d1. Magnus can also go rook a3, rook b3. That's also possible. He goes rook d1. h6, taking away the back rank. h3 played by Magnus quickly. Pushing Theodorou on the clock. He's down to 10 seconds. He goes queen a7. Queen to f5. Another classy move. Now threatening bishop takes h6. And everything is weak. He has to move. Theodorou has no time. Play. But it's so difficult to make moves here. Also the rook is hanging. Rook f8 played. And now boom, bishop takes h6. Knight e7 attacking the queen. Magnus chops off the knight. G takes h6. The rook defends the knight. Rook b7 and the queen is trapped. What a game by Magnus. Just 26 moves. Showed the power of the bishops in this position. And Theodorou, well, he's a strong player. But he had absolutely no chances in this one.
Freedom begins with a choice. In 2008, we made ours. Freedom knows no borders. Step by step, we became part of the global financial system. In 2019, we went public on NASDAQ. In 2024, we built a digital ecosystem. Fintech, lifestyle, telecom, everything comes together in one unified digital space. Today, Freedom is a system that shapes markets. $2 billion in annual revenue, $9.3 billion market capitalization, 11 million customers, 11,300 plus employees, 230 offices worldwide. Freedom begins with a choice, and every day we make it again. Freedom Holding Corp. One ecosystem, many possibilities.